Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy, not joined by Sean Rigsby again. He might be along later, but we'll see. We'll see. So, um, you know, welcome back to the show, my man, Mr. JJ Joe Jackson. How you doing, brother?
What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm doing great, man. Just living the distiller life, as it were.
I know I watch you. You keep me well informed, man. I'm always it's wild. Like I know since the last time I had you on, so it was the last time we had you on. A lot's changed. A lot of things have come to fruition and everything else. So we'll get to all that. But so I want to start out while I'm thinking about it. The other day I was watching you on TikTok, and you was doing what you was calling a step mash.
Yes, sir.
And so if you would go on ahead and explain that to me, if go on explain if you would
So,
exactly what a step mash is and what was you running? What was I watching you run on TikTok the other day?
I'm doing a rye whiskey mash, and the problems that you run into with rye are the extra proteins that are in the actual grain itself, and the extra long chain starches. So you need people think about saccharification, right? Where you gelatinize your grain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you need to bring that rye through all of those different stages, and particularly the beta glucan stage of that rye. So, um, because you need to be able to break down those long chain sugars into something that's actually fermentable. Like
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who are out there mashing rye and you get stalled, stuck ferments, long ferments, that's the reason why you're getting that. So with a step mash, what you're trying to do is give those starches the right temperature and the right amount of time at those temperatures to break down into fermentable sugars, essentially. So what I generally do is I'll get my mash water up to like 110, or even 120 sometimes. I'll add my grain, my rye grain in particular. I'll bring it back up to like 120, where you get like a pre-gelatinization. Rye will gelatinize at like 158
Mm-hmm.
is the temperature that it's most commonly gelatinized at. But you slowly bring it up from 120 into the 150s, adding your beta glucanase at that point, and you're essentially unchaining those long chain starches at that time.
Now,
Um,
are you mashing like all your grains in separately and then mix them together, or are you mashing up?
you're
Like
exactly you're mashing up. So like
okay,
generally, like if I'm not pinched for time, which I mean, time is your
never,
enemy. At well, I
never.
mean, time's your enemy, right? I mean, like if you start a slow cook process like this, um, like for instance with my mash tun, I'm using a steam mash tun. Using a 26-gallon milk kettle still to feed steam generated into the bottom of my stainless steel mash tun. So
You're
that
using a
takes
pot.
a long
You're
time.
using a pot with that has steam running through a downcomer into your grain,
Correct.
or your water and your grain, and so you're essentially just using steam to avoid any scorching. And
Correct.
do you feel like it gives you better control of your your heat up and control of your temps?
It gives you massively better control. So you can, if you get it dialed in right, because my steam pot is also inside of that milk kettle, there's two 5,500-watt elements. So I can control the amount of steam being injected at any time that I want to either hold a temperature or heat up more, or, cool down. The only bad, well, not even bad part, is that like same principle as a thumper. If you turn off the power to that steam still, it wants to suck back. So you
Okay,
gotta
you got to crack that valve.
you gotta crack that valve, man.
You need to slap the Landry valve on that milk tank.
I thought about it, but all things being equal, it's like, well,
I ain't got no
you
time
either.
for that shit. Let's get it. I get that. So that's really cool, man. You know, you're the first person that I've talked to that's I guess I'm going to say mashing backwards, like starting low and mashing forward. That's the first time that I've seen anybody do it. And I was very intrigued by it, and I just wanted to. I didn't bother asking you about it while you was doing it because you was
Well,
busy as shit. And so I knew, like, man, I'm going to ask you about that. I want to hear about, step mashing or reverse mash.
I mean, conversely, you can do it the opposite way. Like you can get your water to boiling, add all your grains, and then step down.
Yeah,
Um, the only problem is sometimes what grain wants to do, what those long chain sugars want to do, is they want to gelatinize, and then sometimes they get attracted to each other and close back up
yeah.
as you step down. So to prevent that, the step up method is the preferred method, which
And also, how much time is that saving you? Because you know how long it takes for it to cool down. Like, it takes
yeah.
forever for your mash, unless you're dumping cold water into it to bring it down, and then you're speeding it. But like, how much time are you saved by doing it like that, where you're controlling the temp going up as opposed to waiting for it to go down?
So I think what people can do if they're going to do it the way to go down, I know that rye can be a bitch to like mash in. It gets super thick and gloopy. Um, there are high temp beta glucanase enzymes out there. Um, Enzymes are fucking expensive. Like that's how the world works. But those high temp ones, if you're stepping down from a higher temperature, you can use those enzymes, and what it also allows you to do, because those enzymes are so aggressive, is that you can literally, like, say you're doing a 50-gallon mash, for instance, and you're using 110 pounds of grain. Um, your water to grain ratio while you're mashing in, you can start with like 25 gallons of water and
Yeah,
mash in that 110 pounds of grain into that 25 gallons. And uh, so then you can better control your temperature if you're adding hot or cold water on the way down.
adjust it down.
But
That's
those enzymes make it so that the mash itself, the slurry, is manageable.
yeah.
So
And like you said, they're aggressive and they go to work. That's
yeah.
But yeah, I just, I was intrigued, so I wanted to hear you speak on that. So I
No,
appreciate
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
passing that knowledge on because, like I said, you're the first person I've seen do it, and anytime that I see somebody do it, I'm like, man, I gotta hear them talk about it. So I appreciate it. But so since the last time I've had you on, old Mister JJ over here has become a mainstay on the main show, Moonshiners. Man, I love your character on there because it's you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you off camera and it's you, and that's what I love. I love the realness about you on there and everything that you've done. Is every time you're on there, I'm just, I'm busting your chops.
Well, I appreciate it. I gotta have
Asking
people.
questions.
I gotta have people. If there's one thing about this community at large, is like, I'm not out here like trying to make waves with people. This is a community. I want people to be able to, you know, check each other and have fun, and like, honestly, like that's the interactions that I enjoy the most, is where, people keep your ego in check. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it goes back to whether you're in the military, the person next to you is going to keep you in check, or if you played sports growing up, like, your buddies are going to keep you in check. That's our job. But at the same time, we're like, bro, that's so amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. Love what you're doing. Why'd you do this? You fucked that up. Or, hey,
It's
hey,
cut for time, Big Easy. Cut for
you're right.
time.
You're right. See, JJ uses, like, I call him the yeast man. Like, he uses the yeast that are just, it's always something different, or it's liquid this and that, and so like JJ's the yeast guy, and every time he's like using this, and I'm like, man, that's a weird way to spell bread yeast. Where'd you get that liquid bread yeast? It's really cool to. And I wish I had enough hair to get a haircut, Lamasters. You leave JJ alone, his hair, man. You grow that as long as you want. Matt's just a bald sumbitch himself, so don't listen to nothing he has to say about hair. Uh, I kill for JJ's hair.
You gotta love it. It's a great dust gatherer when I'm grinding grain. So
Nice. Oh, dude, when you're grinding grain, it's just, and I notice like you almost powderize your rye,
yeah, yeah,
and dude, when you get it down to the powder, it just everywhere.
it's everywhere. It's on everything.
But yeah, so if you got questions about yeast, like weird strains of yeast, hit up JJ, man. He's always got something cool going on. I love what he's doing. But so see you on the main show a lot, and I've seen you've worked with Mark Digger, you've worked with Amanda. Um, how much knowledge have you gained just from being around them and watching them do what they do? And like I know Amanda's more of the scientific style, which seems that's what I get when I speak to you is it's like talking to Bill Nye. And but then also be able to just pick the brain of some old timers that do it the old way and running big sloppy and all that.
I think the perception that old equals bad. I think that's a perception that a lot of people have. But honestly, like let's take Digger for instance. Like I was with Digger recently, and we were talking about visiting the White Labs yeast facility, which is in Asheville, and trying to do that together because he's as interested in yeast as
Mm.
I am. But it's a I tell people it's like when two worlds collide, like that's what traditional distilling, that's where like I think the moonshiner shows for me is where traditional distilling has met with innovative new craft distilling.
And you could
And
see it. You could see it like at the beginning. It was all backwoods, this way, that way.
mhm,
But just like anything, like new technology is big. Like you got to integrate it. You got to pull in these guys who are real scientific about it, and it's got to be entertaining at the same time. Like,
well, look at the stills that Jerry and them be making. Like some of that stuff,
you
was, and a lot of that is borne out on the forums, which I know, like I've got my druthers with them, like whether it's a steamer still, like, or I watched a guy on one of the forums. He built an entire Liebig condenser using no water, but he had computer fans on the
Mhm.
outside, and he built a wooden box and put computer fans. I think he had 100 of them up and down the outside of the condensing pipe, and it worked. But he was in a place in the country where he didn't have a huge water reservoir. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't use it. So
Yeah.
I think that innovation is something that like I appreciate gets showcased on the show in between
Yes.
the other stuff. But I want there to be more of that.
And how cool is it that like guys at home are doing things and we are freely sharing what we do. Like anything I learn, I'm giving on to the next person. Like I figure something out. Here you go, man. Here's how I did it. Don't go through all the crap I had to go through to figure this out. Here, I took the time. I'm going to freely spread this to you, or that's an awesome idea. I'd like to try something like that. And so it's so cool that everything is like so many people are so freely open with their knowledge and their information nowadays that we live in an amazing time. Like we
Yeah,
live in a revolution for
I think
moonshine.
I think open source distilling is an important part to like move things forward. I also do think that like the guy, and I think me and Alan Bishop have talked about it. Like me and Amanda have talked about it. Like hell, even me and Digger and Mark have talked about it. It's like the next phase of people doing this. I mean, uh, there's so many people now that have started in their garage or wherever in their shed that are able to do this on a craft scale and make things completely, utterly unique and different than what I would call like industrial distillation.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you got guys at home that are just doing their thing, and then the biggest compliment you could do is like, "What'd you put in this jar?" Like nothing, nothing. I got to infusion and all that. But like you said, everybody's starting at home nowadays, and it's getting so big now. You have states legalizing home distillation. Whether it's Alaska, Missouri, West Virginia just hopped in, and it's going to be a domino effect. And the more it's legal in states, the more people that are going to do it. And I think it's gonna keep growing and growing and growing.
I think that
And
the tax side of it, I mean, just like the cannabis industry, it's like I think what people can't get over is the tax side of it. People feel like they're going to lose out, like the literal revenuers have a fear that they're going to lose out on revenue, and
yeah,
it's like, you know what, I'm still going to buy my $60 bottle of Redbreast 12-year age Scotch from the liquor store. I'm still going to be a consumer of spirits,
yeah, quality spirits.
but
I'm not buying Swell no more. I can make Swell in my garage anytime I want. But but,
exactly.
but on the flip side, even that home distiller, how much more goods is that person buying? That man or woman, like how much more goods are you buying? You're buying more fruit, you're buying more grain, you're buying more sugar. You're paying for
I mean,
more
hell,
electricity and fuel. So in the end, I believe it all equals out. Like you'll never buy a jar of liquor that didn't have tax paid on it one way or another. Just because you didn't pay it to the revenue man doesn't mean that there's not some taxes paid on everything that's involved with making that.
and also in the same term of what I'm trying to do at the distillery here, and I know this is bred out of moonshine culture, and you know how that operates is like local ingredients, man. Like how many local orchards and grain farmers, hell, people who've got a pear tree in their backyard that they hate, and they're going to cut it down. Like, you know, how much of that waste can we resolve by distilling it? And like, I'm out here asking orchards for their seconds and thirds, stuff that they can't sell to grocery stores and farmers markets. I mean, like, hey, like I'll pay you a fair price for it, and we'll turn it
You're
into
not,
liquor. And don't forget, please, please, if you're doing that, don't forget about your farmer or your orchard person. Give them a jar,
yeah,
free.
hook them up. Scratch the people's back who scratch yours.
Well, they want to taste whatever. I think a lot of the times they are surprised by the taste of what it's the fruits of their labor, literally.
Yes,
Like,
yes, when you hand one of them a jar they've never thought about making it into alcohol, well, you might have just created a new moonshiner. You might have spread the culture, and now that person's like, man, why am I throwing this away? And
mm-hmm.
like now I'm making liquor with this, and I can make liquor myself. And dude, I meet so many people, and they're like, oh, I wouldn't know where to begin. And I send them a link to a video, and they watch a video, and they're like, holy shit, that's easy.
Well,
I
that's
could,
easy. That's easy because you and Phil are quite honestly the funniest moonshine videos
you
out
learn a
there.
lot. You learn a lot. That's
Exactly.
all that matters. Like, I remember you talking like, man, I was making wine, watching your video, like, holy shit, I could do this. and
That's
and
I mean,
and then
that's
now let's
literally it.
uh, let's talk about the stills. Let's talk about distillery. I heard you talk about at the distillery, like what's going on, because last time I spoke to you, you was just some no name army dude on the Master Distiller show, and so you got on the main show Moonshiners. Like I said, love your character, you're real, it's informative. And I always enjoy learning, and when you're on there, there's a lot of knowledge being spread from
I
your
mean,
character to when you're involved, and I love that. But let's talk about your distillery, because I know I have received a jar of some phenomenal blue corn liquor from you at Farm to Bottle last year.
so like it was one of those things where like you don't know if you don't try, and I feel like a lot of people in that home distilling space who have aspirations of, a career in this or, whatever, you know, if you don't know, you don't try, or if you don't try, you don't know. So like, I got to the point where, I was making things, people were happy with it, but I didn't know what the other side of the fence thought about the things that I was making. So I literally started just throwing feelers out to head distillers around my region. It's being like, hey, one of them was Jim Huff at Liberty Pole Spirits, which is a great regional distillery. I mean, they're soon to be a nationally known brand, but like between him and what I landed on was a gentleman. His name's Christian. He owns Lucky Sign Spirits, where I'm the head distiller. But we met on a forum, and he said, "Hey, come by, and you'll know you're in the right place when you get here." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds ominous."
Help me in.
Yeah.
That'd be a sketchy. It sounds sketchy up there.
I've walked into a few ambushes in my life, and this sounds like one of them. But I came here, and it was a distillery, and I let him try some of my homemade things, and he's like, "Hey, this 100% malted blue corn, like that's really good. Would you think about doing a bottle of it?" And push came to shove, we did it. It sold extremely well, and about a year after that, he was like, "Hey, you make really good stuff. We don't have a head distiller," which I find like a lot of these craft distilleries, the people who are the inception people, the people who like create them, they don't have time to distill oftentimes because they're going through the red tape of everything else.
And try to run the whole business on top of it.
It's
distilling takes some time, man. You got to have that time to put into it.
So if I could take the distilling portion off of his hands and then he could focus on that, like that's kind of the agreement that we came to. And, so about 8 months ago, I came on here at Lucky Sign Spirits as the head distiller. We're doing a lot of crazy things. My personal brand is the Outpost. It's kind of like a nod of a tip of the hat to my military buddies, my time in the service. We're going to be we released the 100% malted blue corn under that label, and my bourbon under that label will be out next week.
So what you're saying is that you're going to have a bottle of your bourbon for me in Maggie Valley. That's what I heard. I'll buy it off of you.
It is it's not your standard bourbon, and I think that
I don't think I've had anything from you that was standard. So except for the malt,
well, I think that
even the blue corn was malted. That was different. Usually it's just straight blue corn. It was phenomenal, by the way. So
I think that people in our community appreciate the stuff that we're doing. I mean, the bourbon is Oaxacan green corn, which I know you're familiar with. But I added to the mash bill honey malted barley and malted oats. I only put it in a barrel for 4 months. Hold on, you know what? I came here and I don't have. Let me grab a bottle of it really quick because you'll be surprised at the color on it.
I will drink anything you give me as long as you don't add smoke to it. I will not. One of the first things JJ ever gave me, it was this smoky. Oh, it was like licking the inside of a brand new charred barrel. It was just it was too much for me. I'm not a Scotchy type of person, but then I let a buddy try it who loves Scotch, and he's like, "Dude, this is amazing." And I'm like, "Not me, man. That's like eating out of an ashtray." It was just too smoky for me.
So this is the bourbon.
Nice. And
now that's only been in a barrel for 4 months. It's got a great color to it, and we were at National Bourbon Day, and people were telling me that this tasted better than all of the other Barrel Select 2-year, 4-year, 8-year, and it's because of the grain. I mean, I'm convinced at this point, and this, if I'm going to get stuff from a farmer, I want the fruits of their labor to shine through in whatever I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the person who grew those oak trees that make that barrel.
Right.
Like,
I don't know
and
the person that cut it down, or I don't know who charred the barrel.
but oftentimes, even with that, it's like, okay, well, why do I want all of those notes to muddle what Bob McDonald's Oaxacan green corn tastes like?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a painstaking process growing that shit, and I want people to be able to taste it. So
See, I'm not a big fan of the woody, the oak age, and I think sometimes, like you're saying, like um, to keep the flavor, maybe you're better off to pull it a little early if you want the grain to shine through and not be muddled up by the leather and shoe soles that you get from super over long aged bourbon. Like I understand it gives its own characteristics, and if you enjoy it and you love that flavor, that's what it's all about. You drink what you like.
yeah, yeah,
For me, like with that light color, it just gives you that little bit of woody flavor to it, and lets the corn shine through. That's my type of deal. So I'm pretty sure that bottle said Big Easy somewhere on the label.
This is actually
I seen it.
well. This is a mock label right now. We had to change a few things on it.
Okay.
But yeah,
I don't care what it
it's
says on the
well
outside.
the TTB has strict requirements. It has to be triple grain
Oh,
bourbon whiskey. Uh, and I'm just a fledgling home distiller,
yeah,
and I don't
you
know
got
all
to
of
do
these.
exactly what they say, man. That's just the way it is. So
Exactly,
we're just living in their world trying to make it. So yeah, man, that's super cool, brother. Like I said, congratulations on everything you've achieved over the last year, man. I know it's come at you fast in a whirlwind, and I know you had a lot of what ifs along the way, man. So congratulations on what you're doing, man.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. That means a lot, especially coming from like talking about our community and like talking about you and Phil and like honestly like looking up to you guys as like an example of like you know where to start. I think that you know people can say like, oh well, I think people say it about our community in general, like, oh well, there's a bunch of hillbillies and ne'er do wells and blah blah blah. Like if they ain't got two dimes and a nickel to push to get like it. It doesn't matter. This is a homegrown thing. It's a rich community and tradition, and I feel like y'all are the ones that are helping keep it alive. So.
I mean, I definitely appreciate you kind words, man. Like I said, I definitely look up to you, man. Like
Well,
what you do,
this is the other bottle is
that
our
says
new
Big Easy
brand,
on it too. There you got all these bottles
which
that got my
is
name on them already.
Honest Hillbilly. And the thing that it goes into what I talked about. The thing that we want to do, and I want to do personally, which I think is the moonshiner way of doing things, is like following the agricultural cycle of wherever you're at. So, me like tree fruit season is like right around the corner. Like in the scramble to become partners with somebody who has got a tree, willing to let you pick the
Yep.
tree, scavenge.
We're kind of blessed. Like you're not far from me, but this area is just fruit rich in the fall. Whether it's blueberries, blackberries, peaches, apples. Like there's so much fruit in this area. Like we're spoiled. The grains,
Yeah.
like corn. Like I talk to buddies all over. I'm like, oh man, I can get this. And they're like, man, I can get yellow corn at Tractor Supply.
Yeah, exactly.
You need rye, you need barley. Like I can't get none of that, man. Like we're here in the Midwest. We are definitely very spoiled when it comes to ingredients and availability of them. So, and like JJ was talking about, man, if you're not sure where to get stuff, find a farmer. Like there's farmers everywhere, no matter where you're at. There's some type of farmer in your area. There's farmer or farmers in your area that are doing something, and just contact them, see what they got. Maybe they've got leftovers that they're going to feed to their hogs, but instead they'll sell it to you at dirt cheap because then that puts money in their pocket.
Exactly.
You never know. You know what I'm saying? Like hell, walk into Walmart or Myers, has to talk to the manager and say, hey, what do y'all got that's waste? What you're throwing away? But I'll give you half price for it, and it don't matter if it's for you, it's what you want anyways. The older the better.
Exactly.
As long as
It's
it's
like
not
it's all about making connections and making friends with folks, and a lot of times it's the unlikely connections and friends that are the most fruitful in a lot of ways. I mean, uh, like hell, Bob out of Dancing Star was a dairy farmer before, and now he grows all exclusively distilling grains.
yeah,
Like,
like his selection of heirloom corn and his quality of corn is second to none. Like if I need some high quality heirloom corn, I'm going to Bob. Like I go to Vaughn up at Schoolhouse just because he's so close.
yeah, yeah.
He brings it to me, but he doesn't have everything that Dancing Star has. So like it's good to have all these people, and Dancing Star will ship it to you, no problem. Um, you know, but then that's more money you're into it, and if you can get it, and I know you use that CNC malt right there.
CNC Malt, yeah.
Uh,
They're in Butler County.
and then I don't know if Pennsylvania is like Ohio, but if you use home in-state ingredients, you get a discount on your rates through the TTB, or
I there's I think
it's
there's
substantial here.
there's labeling that we can take advantage of, but I don't know that we get a discount. I think ultimately it's about what you want your customer to taste, and like I've been hyper focused on that, and you know I want them to taste Western PA
Yeah,
in a
and
bottle.
let's be for real, like based on the size of stills you're running small batch.
Oh yeah.
It's called craft small batch, and we know what small batch goes for on the counter on the shelf. So like, and when it's small, I feel like you have a little more control over it. You control the quality, you control the love that goes into it, and you're able to make minor adjustments. You're not mass distilling for money. You're small distilling to get by and put out the best product you can, and that is 100% what a home distiller is all about. So
Yeah,
way to start as a home distiller, grow your dream, and get to where you're at, brother. Congratulations, man.
I appreciate it, man. I really, really, really do.
So
Um,
we're gonna keep it short. I know
yeah,
JJ's on a time crunch. I was happy enough to get him on. Like we had to come on early to make it happen, which I had no problem with that. So means I got out of work a little early, and
I
now
appreciate it, man.
hard. So keep doing your thing, man. And like I said, look forward to seeing you on the show. Love what you do. Keep doing what you're doing. Follow High and Angry on TikTok. You watch him work, man. It's he works too damn hard. That's for sure.
Well, come and check me out. Come check me out on TikTok. We've been doing the lives and stuff on there. And I did just start my the Outpost Stillworks Instagram page. It's the underscore Outpost underscore Stillworks, and you can follow more on there to find out like just the unique stuff that we're going to be putting out over the next foreseeable future.
Well, when you got a big thing you want to put out, man, let us know. We're always down to have you back on. Definitely enjoy listening to you. So, and
Thanks,
I'm
brother. I
jealous
appreciate
of
you.
the hair. I'm jealous.
I'll buy you a wig. You can wear it
No,
during
I
the
can't do it.
hillbilly.
It make me sweat too much. Like, it made me sweat. I can't do it. It made me sweat too much. I sweat enough as it is. I was down in Beattyville. It was 100 degrees down there. I'm talking to people just spitting sweat because I'm just flowing. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, man. I'm a Yankee. It gets hot. I sweat, so I sweat a lot. But
That's
all right, well,
excellent,
we'll let
man.
all y'all get out of here, man. We'll see y'all again soon. We're gonna try to come back next Monday at 10. We're switching to Mondays at 10. We're all over the place. Got a lot going on. We're just trying to figure it out. So, but regardless, I'm gonna be at Hillbilly Jam. Um, I'll be there the 25th, 26th, and 27th. Hopefully, JJ can make it down because I'd love to see him. Love to see you in person, man. So, Eddie,
If I do make it down, I'll bring you a pair of the shorts with me. So
they probably won't fit me, but I'll try them on. It got to at least be a double XL, and then squeeze in maybe a 3. I don't know, but I would definitely put a JJ wig on if he brought it. I'd definitely put it on. He wouldn't want it back. But
well,
anyways,
thanks for having me on, brother.
Yes, sir, man. I love you, JJ. Keep in
Love
touch.
you too, homie.
We will. Y'all have a great evening. Enjoy your rest of your week, and have a great 4th of July. I hope your drinking hurts you more than your fireworks do. Y'all take care.
Deuces.